Welcome to Wellthy Living Conversations. I'm Lisa, your host and founder of Wellthy Living. It's here that I have a variety of conversations with wonderful people to help you live a meaningful, connected and well life, both personally and professionally. So the need for self-care has never been greater. Stress and anxiety are having an impact on the well-being of many and affecting our energy levels, our sleep and our hormones. With a need to find ways to stay calm and centered, today I'll be chatting with Simmi, a woman who has devoted 30 years to help thousands of people with their well-being needs. She's a qualified aromatherapist and aromatherapy educator. We're going to talk about using essential oils as part of our self-care toolbox. So welcome, Simmi.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here, darling.
Oh, absolute pleasure. So let me tell you a bit about Simmi. Simmi holds engaging and fun aromatherapy masterclasses where she offers informative and practical ways to learn more about using aromatherapy safely in her own unique style. She's collaborated with some exclusive brands and health professionals to create aromatherapy toolkits for their clients. And in addition, she has a private clinic and organic essential oil range. Her latest passion project is a digital online e-course presenting aromatherapy tools and strategies to improve sleep, increase energy, and experience relaxation techniques to support the balance of hormones. She also appeared on the Today Show Extra as an aromatherapy expert. So what I think would be really good if we just start by, if you could tell the listeners, what is aromatherapy? I mean, a lot of people know, but it is a little bit confusing. We hear a lot about essential oils these days through a lot of the multi-level marketing companies like doTERRA or Essential Living, I think it's called. Young Living. But I don't know that outside of that, a lot of people may not understand what aromatherapy is. So can you just tell everyone what it is?
Sure. As the name suggests, it does have to do with aromas, and aromatherapy is basically a holistic treatment that deals with the psychological and the physiological aspect of a human. So the mind, body and spirit is all encompassing when you use essential oils. So that's the main tool of aromatherapists, and aromatherapy are essential oils, but you can also use clays and hydrosols and plant-based botanical vegetable oils as well. So using all these tools, you can help to address health issues and well-being. So it's a very powerful tool to incorporate into your life.
Yeah, fantastic. So yeah, I mean, let's dive in deeper and have a look at some of the benefits and how to use them and how to use them safely. I think that, you know, what you're saying, I think the more tools we can have at this point in time, the better. Yes. I mean, we are living in a society where anxiety and depression and stress are at an all-time high, and not just for the current situation we're in, but I think that that's been happening over long periods of time with burnout and work and, you know, people having relationship difficulties or parenting, all different areas where we can increase our toolbox to ways that we can help ourselves stay calm and centered and improve our well-being, the better. So before we go on to some of those benefits and how to use them safely, how did you even get to, I mean, in your bio that I read, it's like you've been doing this for 30 years and it's only recently that I think people have started to hear about oils. So what drove you to oils so early on?
It all began, I was running a restaurant, and with the restaurant industry, it's very long hours, and it's quite challenging work, working with the public every day. And it also disrupted my sleep. So I became an insomniac. And a friend gifted me a little bottle of oil, and I added it to my bath that evening, and I had my first night of blissful sleep. And from there, it just took off. I then attended a workshop, and then I started working for an essential oil company, and then I started studying, and then I got headhunted to become a consultant for an essential oil company to be their full-time aromatherapist. And then I started educating and creating blends and having my clinic, and it just snowballed. It was just a natural flow-on effect. It was wonderful.
Yeah,
I
that's
was very lucky.
yeah, awesome. And so when we talk about benefits of essential oils, so you mentioned just a minute ago that it's looking at both the psychological and physiological benefits. So
Yeah.
can you talk a little bit about some of those benefits?
So essential oils are the volatile plant extracts from all different parts of the plant kingdom. And those essential oils are made up of chemical compounds. And those chemical compounds give each individual essential oil their therapeutic benefit. So it depends on the chemical constituents within each essential oil, what they'll be able to do for you. So essential oils, with those chemical compounds in mind, they have an array of benefits. And they include things like improving your sleep quality and sleep hygiene by putting a diffuser next to your bed can just eliminate some of that trouble getting to sleep, just drifting off to sleep. Or it helps with, if you apply the essential oils topically, then they can help with balancing and regulating your hormones. And you can get even more specific with your hormones depending on the essential oils and your intention. You can use essential oils to stimulate your nervous system. So it's great in the morning after you have a shower to apply a body boost blend set, for example, and just feel your whole nervous system being activated. Or you could use the essential oils to relax and soothe your nervous system, which is wonderful to deactivate and just wind down at the end of the evening as well. Wonderful for skin applications and skin regeneration. So instead of using toxic, expensive face creams, you can make yourself a facial oil using essential oils and botanical plant-based carrier oils to create a very simple and effective regenerative facial blend that not only will work on your skin on a topical level, but will also be a mood enhancer. So you're getting that double effect, and it's wonderful. I mean, there's nothing like it. You can relieve the, symptoms of stress and tension and anxiety. Having a sniff of neroli oil, or putting a drop on a tissue and tucking it somewhere, and just letting those vapors that you can smell just help relieve by bringing down that cortisol level, working with your adrenals and just help soothing it and lowering it and managing all the seesaw, the flight and fight response. It's just, for me, it's just the most incredible tool that you could ever integrate into your life easily and effectively.
Amazing. I love your passion. I can hear it in your voice, and you've obviously used it for a long time, and I can see it in your face. You must be using those beautiful skin products, because you look amazing and very glowing in your skin. So yeah, I mean, what I'm interested to know then, and maybe other people are, is when you talked about, it's good for your sleep, you talked about good for hormone regulation, stimulates your nervous system to get energy in the morning, and then deactivates your nervous system for relaxation. You talked about skin. Like, what are some of can you share some? I know that you can't, you blend a whole lot of different things often to create blends for these particular
Conditions.
benefits or conditions, but are there any specific oils where they really do help any particular one of these that you could share? Like, what are we talking here, like in terms of lavender for relaxation, or like what?
Yeah, lavender's always referred to as the little black dress of the book, the toolkit. It's one that you can just wear everywhere. It goes anywhere and everywhere, that little one. But essential oils, because they come from the plant kingdom, so you've got your citrus oils, you've got your herb oils, you've got your spice oils, you've got your wood oils, you've got your resins. Now, each of those groups, if you want to just simplify understanding them, the citrus oils is a group that's renowned for its enhancing of moods. It's your uplifters, and great for anxiety and depression. You've got your herbs. Now, I find the herb group is really good with all your organs and your main body systems. So they have your extreme relaxation, the marjoram, the Valium of the group, to things like your most stimulating, let's say rosemary, which will stimulate even your memory and your focus and concentration. So they're using rosemary with lavender for dementia patients. So just to help increase their memory and their recall and things like that. Then you have your woods. Now, your woods are your bases. And I always love to add a wood in, and they help ground you. And they help solidify and strengthen. You think of your woods as your tree, your tree trunk. They give you your centered and your balance and your strength. So I group the oils, and I find the resins are more for that spiritual aspect, opening up. Then you have your florals, and your florals, for every woman on this planet, your florals are for your skin, they're for your sexuality, they're for your sensuality, they're for your hormonal system. The flowers work well with your hormonal system. So I've just generalized, and obviously, just giving you a bit of a pattern between the groups of the essential oils to apply them a little bit easier.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Now, when you say that they're for all these different types of conditions or to just help with general mood or energy, like how much study has been done behind that? So is this just a lot of anecdotal evidence, or is there a lot of scientific research behind it? How does this with regard to, say, the medical model?
In regards to research, there is being an extraordinarily amount. Now, you have to also understand you can find research to support anything.
Yes.
You have to discern between the research, which is a whole other story, because there is a lot of research being done, and some of it is just really powerful, backing up what aromatherapists have been working with for years anyway. But a lot of the research is also, they've been giving, like one study is that they've been giving, people who are undergoing chemotherapy and the anxiety before going through chemotherapy treatment, they've been giving them lavender and orange. Now they found those, then they did the placebo group. They found the ones that were incorporating lavender and orange into their daily helped with the anxiety and some of the symptoms of the chemotherapy as well. So there's extensive research going on now, because people, even in the antibiotic world, because they're finding antibiotics are no longer as effective because the viruses or whatever are adapting and changing. So a lot of antibiotics are not as effective because of these changes within the actual protein and virus and things like that. So essential oils, because they're from the plant kingdom, have an adaptability, an adaptogen personality that can help with things where pharmaceutical replacements type of thing. So it's great. It's great. We're entering hospitals, schools, government bodies. It's wonderful.
So what's the difference then between, for example, whether it be, you know, lavender and it comes in an essential oil, or whether it be I'm walking past a lavender plant and I actually pick the actual plant, or same with something like, say, on a viral level, something like oregano, and I eat actual oregano compared to oregano as a blend of oil. Like, which is there better? Or
really good point. What the difference is, say, between a lavender flower and a lavender essential oil. Okay, the first thing is that the lavender essential oil is 70%, if not more in some cases, stronger than the original source that it came from. So you're dealing with a herbal liquid that is a concentrate. Now with that concentrate, that's 70%. That's huge, that's massive, and that has to be taken into consideration for safety. Where some people are doing all sorts of things with essential oils these days, and some of them, I think they don't understand how concentrated one drop of essential oil actually is and how powerful and potent it is. Yes. So yes, you smelling a lavender flower is effective if that's what you like. You know, that's going to help. But an essential oil has an energy, a frequency about it. It has chemical constituents that are actually components that have a therapeutic, scientific effect.
Yeah, fantastic. And what about for behavioural disorders? Has that been a useful thing to use?
Yeah, definitely. Now, one thing that's wonderful about aromatherapy, and I think that's what's been so powerful as a toolkit for so many people, and the popularity of it for mainstream, is that it's just such a beautiful therapy. It's not take a pill. So it's have a bath, make a body blend, do a compress, put your diffuser on. So the compliance and the ease of integrating it into your lifestyle is just a wonderful thing.
Yeah. And do you think that therefore it would be hard to then determine what is giving you your best effect? So if you're ritualizing a lot of the way that you take the oil, so if you're putting it through a diffuser and you're prepping your bath and you're lighting candles, I mean, having a warm bath is relaxing in and of itself. So how do you then
imagine adding essential oils with that extra power and therapeutic?
Is it therapeutically beneficial because of the oil itself, or do you think a lot of the therapeutic benefit also comes from the ritualization that we stop and we pause and we pour water into a diffuser and then we put the oil and then we light it and we're taking the space and the time and we're thinking about the fact that we're trying to do something good for ourselves and all of those benefits that come into it? Do you think that they add to the therapeutic benefit, or do you think it's
Absolutely. I definitely do. There's something in aromatherapy and using essential oils that we call anchoring. So what you've just described is an anchor moment. So you're connecting that ritual with the science and the essential oil therapeutic. So you're anchoring that aroma or that synergy that you've created with those positive emotions, creating a synergy effect which enhances the overall well-being effect.
Yeah, which I suppose is coming back to the idea of providing both psychological and physiological benefit.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
You've got it.
So if we then go a little bit more onto safety and the way that people can use the oils, before you mentioned briefly about putting something topically, like when you talked about some of those flower-based ones, and then I suppose the most common thing is to use it within a diffuser, and then there's obviously there's a lot of talk and a lot of controversy over whether they can or can't be ingested if they're being diluted. So maybe if you can talk about some of the uses and how do we know like how much to even use in all of those different scenarios?
Okay, there's quite an extensive area of methodology to use essential oils, each with their own set of guidelines and safety. And yes, you touched on dilutions. So it's really, really, really important to understand that this is a methodology using highly concentrated plant extracts. There are guidelines, and these guidelines are set out to minimize risk, to reduce adverse reactions, to deploy sensitization. And I think that's where some people in mainstream are missing the mark. I think it's really important that you do yourself a favor and get either a textbook or some sort of education from a reliable source, and you understand that there are guidelines and dilutions set out by the International Federation of Aromatherapy, their world guidelines, and they're there for a reason. What I'm seeing, however, is that certain groups are not adhering to these guidelines because they've been told the more you use, the better it is with essential oils, when in fact, our philosophy as aromatherapists with essential oils is actually less is more. But what we're finding in the mainstream is that people think, oh, if 1 drop's going to do that, then 10 drops is going to be better. And it's not the case. And we'd really like, as aromatherapists, to help people understand the implications if they use way over the dilution level. So say a body blend. A body blend in general is a 2% dilution factor. Now that 2% can mean that for 100 ml of plant-based oil, you're going to add 50 drops approximately of essential oils. Now what some people are doing are adding 100 drops. Now what this does is makes it a 5 to 10% dilution, which actually increases the workload for your liver, which if you have overly stretched liver anyway, you're actually burdening and adding to the liver load, which may have its effects down the track for you. So I'm trying to educate people to use safe dilutions, to go and see and seek out an aromatherapist if they want to take them internally, because that is really popular. Everyone is adding oils to water like they're lollies, and they're not lollies.
How do you add what? I mean, just on a scientific level, how do you add oil to water when oil and water repel, don't they? They don't.
Spot on.
Like
absolutely,
oil doesn't.
Essential oil has been named an essential oil because it doesn't mix with water. So what's happening is people are putting 5 drops of lemon they've been told to put in their water. So the lemon sits on top of the water. It doesn't
diffuse,
blend or mix. So what's happening? They'll take a sip of that water with the essential oil, and that's going to maybe burn the mucous membranes of your mouth. That will cause ulcers. It'll burn the skin. Now, essential oils, as I've said, are 70% stronger than the original source. So imagine putting a hot oil like oregano in your mouth, like it's burn material. People putting it under their tongue for sublingual, and I understand that is the quickest way into your bloodstream, but you are damaging things along the way.
So if you were to look at oregano and use it as oregano is quite known, as its nutritional value for antiviral,
Let me stop here. Essential oils do not have any nutritional value. They do not have vitamins. They do not have minerals. Vitamins do not transcross from the distillation process. The molecules are too heavy. So vitamin C from orange peel doesn't transfer across because the molecule is too big to go through the distillation process.
That's interesting, because I know
I don't know why people are thinking flavour, one thing, nutritional, forget it.
Oh, that's great to know. So, for example, because I know that I've heard of people getting, say, oregano oil and diluting it with, say, another, putting in another oil, say almond oil or something like that, and then putting it in an empty capsule and taking it for antiviral properties.
And I totally understand where they're coming from when doing that. I would just like to see that they know what they're doing, because when you're taking something internally, you're going on a whole different microbiome. There's still not enough research to know the effect of when that essential oil is in that stomach and intestinal region. What is actually going on there?
Yeah,
with the natural the flora, the microbiome of your gut region.
Yeah. And if you're saying that it has a nutritional benefit, then there's probably not any point in risking that.
Well, I think where people are coming from when they're doing that is they're going for the antiviral property or the antibacterial property or the anti-inflammatory.
But aren't those properties?
Yes, you can take things. You can take essential oils internally in a capsule or a vegetable cap, but you need to know what you're doing. You need to know your constitution. You need to know your weight. You need to measure things out. It's not just. They're not herbs.
Yes.
They're concentrate plant extracts, and I think people forget, they think they're all beautiful and smell pretty and all that sort of thing. And yes, they do. A lot of them do. But they have chemical constituents. Some of them have chemical constituents that can be quite toxic.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so
So
good to know.
basil has a chemical constituent, methylcavicol, that can be, depending on the batch of that basil, can range from 10% to 70%. Now, if you have a high dose of methylcavicol and you take that internally, that could cause some serious internal damage.
Yeah. And it's so good to know, because I think that it's a really, unregulated industry when you've got
You're right.
companies, and I know you didn't want to name them before, but like the most popular companies are things like doTERRA oils. I mean,
Yeah.
most people I know, and including myself, have some doTERRA oils. And so when they're being sold from not aromatherapists, but being sold from health food shops to just
Yeah.
agents or whatever, that people that sign
Wellness advocates, I think they call
yeah,
themselves. Yeah.
yeah, or not
Yeah.
even, some people aren't even, they're just doing it as a side business,
Mm.
and they're obviously supplied with all of the documentation around guidelines and protocols, but how many of those people are actually, it's not like the client who buys it gets the protocol brochures or guidebooks. It's just
Yeah.
so it's a pretty deregulated industry. So it's really good hearing this from you, and hopefully a lot of people listening will get more information on this sort of stuff, and then
But this is,
maybe inquire
yeah,
further.
this is a concern for aromatherapists. And as we watch wellness advocates advocate recipes for cancer or digestive issues, or we get a little bit nervous because they're affecting the aromatherapy industry, where I just get nervous that there's going to be, the safety data, the reports that are going into people, the poison hotline, all those things are growing and increasing in numbers, where people and children and babies, there's overdosing, there's toxic reactions, there's adverse skin reactions, there's all sorts of things going on behind the scenes that, as an effect of essential oils entering mainstream with very little baseline and regulation and neutral education. And that's what I'm about. And that's what's inspired me to develop a course for people to get some solid information from someone who is not brand related and is neutral in the way that they're not influenced by money.
Yeah, you've got an ethical, you're coming from an ethical place. And so
it just concerns me that people are selling essential oils like pharmaceutical, like drug, what are they called? They sell the drugs for the doctors.
Yes.
And what I feel is happening is that now people are going to those drug sellers,
pharmaceutical reps,
to get their diagnosis, and that's making me nervous.
Yeah, absolutely. And
because there are contraindications with certain essential oils.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are safety guidelines with certain essential oils. Juniper, if you've got a weak kidney, juniper, you don't add that to your blend. That will affect your kidney.
Yes.
If you're pregnant, low blood pressure, high blood pressure, there's things to consider.
Absolutely. And that's so good to know. And it's, I'll definitely put details of, is the course ready to go, or is it is it almost ready, or is it available now?
Almost ready.
Almost ready. So I'll put on, and if you've got a wait list,
Yeah, I do.
yeah.
I do.
So what I'll do is I'll put details for that wait list and the information on the show notes anyway. So if people are really interested, people that are listening and want to know more about essential oils and how to use them for yourself, and get that little bit of more education, then definitely check out the link on the show notes.
Because we don't want essential oils to be taken off us and put behind the counter like they did with some naturopathic remedies.
Yeah.
We want it available for everyone.
Yeah.
And, I want to safeguard our industry and the people using essential oils.
Yeah, absolutely. So if maybe if we could just go for one example, because right now I think the biggest problem for a lot of people is anxiety. A lot of people have got mood that is going up and down, up and down. Yes, it then affects the anxiety, will then have that ripple effect of their energy levels and other and stress levels, etc. But if we look at just anxiety, because that's the one that has the ripple effect for immune system and, as I said, energy and hormones and everything, what would be a suggestion that someone could do and put together on their own, that like, obviously you've got to take into account a lot of things like you said, and the best thing is to come and see someone like yourself and get an actual individualized, customized blend. But if someone was to do something really basic that is safe and may not be specific but is safe for just general anxiety, what would you suggest?
What I would suggest is strengthening and soothing the nervous system. So I always start my clients that they just diffuse, that they have a diffuser, they have it on their desk, or they have it in the kitchen, or they have it next to their bed. In that diffuser, you could put certain, let me suggest some essential oils for anxiety.
The
top one I would start with is neroli, which is a floral, and usually a 3% dilution. It comes in a 3% dilution, neroli. I would look at sandalwood, just to help people ground and breathe. Frankincense, to help deepen the breath. And an essential oil like bergamot. And that would be a really beautiful, effective, aromatic blend that people could use immediately.
Fantastic. So do you think that you'd be able to send me the names of all of those with like how many drops you'd put of each to how much water in a blender, and then I can put that on the show notes?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That'd be fantastic, because I think it's, just as a good start.
I can tell you now, this in a diffuser, you usually use between 5 and 10 drops. So I'm just going to base it on that. So in your diffuser, you'll add your water, and then you'll add 3 drops of neroli, 2 drops of bergamot, 1 drop of sandalwood, and 2 drops of frankincense.
Beautiful.
And that's just a really good even blend, and you've got a good combination of top, middle and base notes to create an effective synergy there.
Fantastic. And are all essential oils created equal? Like, so if someone was to go into a store to buy these oils, are different brands better? Is it if it says on the jar 100% essential oil, is that all that's necessary, or do people have to look for more than that?
What you need to look for when you're purchasing essential oils is where they're getting their essential oils from. If they can give you some sort of guarantee that they're 100%, not just saying it's 100%. So that may be by having some mass spectrometry or gas chromatography testing done on those essential oils. If you trust your supplier, and speak to them, ring the different companies, have a chat with the person at the end of the phone. Start learning your essential oils and botanical names, because there's also a really big difference between all the lavenders. There's like 200 different lavenders. It'd be really good that you know your botanical names when you're ordering essential oils. Not just chamomile, there's Roman chamomile, there's German chamomile, not just lavender, there's spike lavender, there's lavandin, there's lavender angustifolia. So there's a whole layering of education.
Too much information for me. I'm going to just pay you to put together the blends for me. That way I can support a small business, I can get my benefit, I know that that the right things are in it, and it's customized to my
Good idea. Seek someone, and there are a lot of essential oils out there, and I would try and look at the price range as well. If all of the essential oils are between $5 and $15, there's a problem. Some essential oils, like I buy my Rose Pure, that's like $250 for 5 mils. So, gauge it by the numbers as well. Like if your frankincense is $25, there's a red flag. Because of the yield factor of frankincense, it's not going to be $25, Check that there's botanical names on there.
Yep.
So you know what you're getting, and they know what they're selling, and so that might help as well. But it's always the integrity of the owner of the company.
Yeah. Fantastic. And just adding to the safety there that I thought of, can you have things diffusing too often or too much? Like, can you just have a diffuser going all day? Is it not good to go more than 2 hours? Like, is there a...
Really interesting. There's a bit of two schools of thought. There's something called fatigue. Aroma, like, when you're smelling too many perfumes, and they do the coffee beans in between, that sort of, there's fatiguing. So some diffusers, like I've got one here, wrong way, these diffusers that are called ionizers don't employ heat. So these diffusers are now, they go on and off. There's an automatic on and off. So every 2 minutes, I think it turns off for a little bit and then comes on. And that's just to help with the fatigue. When you're and that's just to, so you can smell the oils. You know how when you're amongst aromas too much, you can't even smell, you're cooking and someone will walk into the house and go, oh my God, that aroma is fantastic. You can't even smell it anymore. So that helps with that sort of thing. I think it's really good for children. If you're going to have a diffuser in their room, keep the door open a little bit, just allow some ventilation. Yep. But most ionizers are pretty safe these days. There's such a range out there now. So I think you're good to go.
Oh, fantastic. Wow, so many different things. We haven't even touched on anything to do with hormones. I don't know if, I think we're kind of running out a little bit of time.
Yeah.
About them. Is there anything, that you really want to say to do with hormones?
Look, on a personal level, I'm going through menopause, and I've been utilizing the essential oils for the different symptoms of hormones. When they're going a little bit out of whack, when you're going through the perimenopause, I'm finding really effective in reducing my night sweats, the hot flashes, the sleep, the mood swings, the fluid retention, all those symptoms of hormone imbalances. I find it really effective.
Great, amazing.
And for my clients as well that I'm working with.
Yeah, fantastic. It's always good to have another option for perimenopause, trust me.
Yeah. We do need our support kit for that, yes.
Yeah. So the other thing that I just want to touch on when it comes to some safety things, because I think these are important because we are giving a lot of information. And although I have obviously, and we've sort of, what we've talked about now really encourages people to speak to someone like yourself or a professional, but there are still going to be people who are just going to go and do their own self-prescription. So when it comes to pregnancy and oils, is there anything that anyone listening that's pregnant really has to know, and are there specific oils that are just a no-no for pregnancy?
There's two parts. One is the dilution. The dilution has to be adjusted accordingly for pregnancy.
Yep.
So, and in the first trimester, aromatherapists avoid using any essential oils. Okay. So you're not interfering with what's going on internally. But sometimes you don't know you're pregnant, you know, so that is what it is.
Yep.
If you don't know, you don't know. But if you think you're preparing for pregnancy, you need to let your aromatherapist know.
Yep.
There are many essential oils that are unsafe during pregnancy, and that's due to their properties of being emmenagogues, where they regulate the menstrual cycle. When you're pregnant, you don't want to regulate the menstrual cycle. So one essential oil, clary sage, that is the queen of hormone health, is one oil that you don't use during pregnancy.
Okay, interesting. Well, I'm sure there's a whole array of knowledge pregnancy and oils. So I suppose we just suggest that if anyone is listening and they want to use oils,
do your research.
Yeah, and that they get in touch with a professional aromatherapist. And what about, I have some reason, I don't know if this is completely not true, but I have this vague memory of someone mentioning something around oils, and if you've got a pet in the house, that it's not good.
Oh no, I think that's so, yes, that was running around for a while, especially with cats, because they can't metabolize essential oils because of a protein in there and because of their immune system and how it operates. But you can diffuse essential oils. You can actually use essential oils on your pets, but you need to get the right advice. Yeah. That's all.
But if you're diffusing oil,
common sense. Yeah. If you're going to put diffusers on, just give pets the opportunity to leave the room. So have the door open.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. So I think we've covered quite a lot of things. I think we've looked at what aromatherapy is. We've discussed, you know, the use of different oils, a lot of safety things. We've given suggestions of a blend for anxiety and stress-related stuff. We've talked about some of the misconceptions around ingestion of oils. I think we've covered quite a lot. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you would like to share?
I just really think it's important that people seek out education and information from reputable sources. I'm getting quite, I'd like people to go beyond their company and get neutral education.
Yeah,
basically.
Fantastic. And as I said before, I'll definitely put your course the course link to interest on the show notes. But yeah, that's fantastic. You've given us a lot of information, a lot of things to think about, and a lot of ways that we can, people can use oils to keep themselves calm, centered, and connected. And they're three things that I really promote, through my business. And that's, because I think the ripple effect of when we are calm and we are centered and we are connected, the ripple effect of that for all of our relationships, professional and personal, to ourselves and everyone else, is going to be beneficial. So yeah, thank you so much for all your valuable insights.
Pleasure. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
Really interesting conversation. Thank you, Lisa. You do good work.
Oh, thanks so much. So over to you, the listeners. I'm wondering, we're both wondering what your biggest insight or takeaway might be from today's conversation. So if you can leave a comment and let us know, so whether you're listening on social media channels or through your podcast app or through YouTube, wherever you're listening right now, if you can go and then leave a comment and let us know what your biggest takeaway is, or if you've got any questions and you want to follow up about anything, also please leave a comment or contact either Simmi through her website, which is, what's your website, Simmi?
The Aromatherapist. So www.thearomatherapist.com.au.
Yeah, fantastic. I'll put that on the show notes. Or you can also contact me through my website at wellthyliving.com.au or connect with me on any of more of my social media channels. So if you've enjoyed the episode today, please share it with your friends and consider subscribing to the Wellthy Living podcast on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Until next time, remember, connection is medicine.